Well, across the world, we've seen some incredible interest in true crime. True crime books, movies, documentaries, and in particular podcasts of true crime cases and villains, they are hot property. And quite often, when I get to interview an author or even a criminal on a particular story, I always receive a few notes from viewers or listeners angry that we would even contemplate giving space to such a crime or individual. And I often reply to these critics, depending on the actual story, saying, well, it's a case where we can learn from because of investigative skills or a lapse in security, and sometimes you'd argue that there's enormous public interest in certain crimes, or it offers an insight into the development of an evil mind. These are some of the retorts that I write and send back. But when it comes to using gore and depravity to sell films, I can't see why any society needs to be exposed to that rubbish. But that train, of course, has well and truly left the station in all forms of media. What our children get access to now is just way over the top. And so too is a new film now being shot in Geelong. And I don't get it. It's a film about one of Australia's more evil mass murderers, if not the most evil, Martin Bryant. I doubt whether you need reminding, but in 1996 at Port Arthur in Tasmania, this horrible excuse for a human being shot 35 people dead and injured 23 others in a rampage using semi-automatic rifle. He did it because, as he told a neighbour, he wanted to be remembered. Now, I produced a documentary on this horrific character for the Nine Network when Bryant was sentenced. I spent a lot of time with police. I've seen the police file, including the forensic photos of those he shot, and I find it really difficult to even mouth his name. In fact, there's an unofficial culture in Tasmania whereby his name is never uttered. Parts of the media uphold this edict as well. And that's why, no doubt, they've titled this movie Night Tram, which is Martin backwards, a semi-palindrome. The movie makers are the same people who made that creepy movie Snowtown based on South Australia's bodies in the barrel case. But that's different. Why do we need a movie on this monster? Why? Does it serve any purpose at all? We'll hardly learn anything from it. It's not a story with any deep intrigue or contains lessons in police work or national security. If, as a nation, many of us have refused to utter his name, especially those in that state who carry enormous mental scars from that period, doesn't that tell everyone that we don't want to go there again? And more importantly, we don't want to feed his thirst to be remembered, which was his intent. In recent days, high-profile filmmakers have argued against the release of such a movie, but, of course, it's to no proper outcome. I agree entirely with what they're saying, but you can't stop this stuff. I think it's irresponsible and pointless, plus the movie makers needed taxpayer dollars to partly fund it. We're paying for it. I don't want to see an actor looking like this madman, shooting children and elderly people dead. I can only imagine what renewed pain this will bring to the victims' families as well. It's just heartache all over again, whether they watch it or not. There will be publicity by the bucket load. There are some enormous, great, untold Australian stories that could be made into films or television series tomorrow. We don't need a film on him. It's gratuitous bloodshed on the screen, gratuitous fear and violence, and only elevates what this mongrel did. The nation grieved for these people. We felt sick from those events. And as Australians, we're hardly going to reach out and take any more. Shame to those who wrote the cheque for these filmmakers, got rid of our money, and they won't get any more of my money. I won't be watching it, and I suggest you don't either.